Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Amanullah Sand. I facilitate virtual programs at Teacher Development Webinars. I welcome you all at Teacher Development Webinars. Teacher Development Webinars is a social action project implemented by British Council Active Citizens in Pakistan as a response to COVID-19 crisis. It is an initiative to support teachers and educators around the world with professional development opportunities. We are thankful to Master English Training for sponsoring a Zoom account. And in our today's webinar, Embracing Technology, the Road to Success, we will explore the pros and cons, importance, and need of technology. We'll examine how we can adapt technology to our classrooms, especially from virtual mode of teaching perspective. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Sabat Tanveer for this webinar. Sabat Tanveer is a visiting faculty of English in two private universities of Pakistan. She has taught English at various levels from school to college and currently at university level. Sabah holds a double bachelor's degree, one in commerce and second in education. She has done masters in English literature and linguistics from University of Karachi. Her pursuit of knowledge and a passion for English language keeps her busy in looking for and availing opportunities for professional optimization and growth that eventually helps students grow. We are pleased to have you, Sabah. Thanks for joining us here at Teacher
Thank you
Development
so much.
Webinars.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everybody. Okay. Should I share my screen now?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So today, as you can see, that our topic.
You need to.
Is,
sorry to interrupt. You need to maximize it.
okay, I'll do that. Okay.
Great.
Now it's fine.
Wonderful.
Okay. So as you can see that the topic today is embracing technology, the road to success. This is a very pertinent topic, especially for all of us. Technology has been there for very long, but due to the pandemic, now we don't have any other way out. So first, let me share the goals with all of you. Today, we shall recognize the importance of technology in the classroom. Then we would explore ways to incorporate technology in our classrooms. We have been talking a lot about, you see, all of us know the importance of technology, but I would speak from the perspective of Pakistan, especially that teachers do feel that they do not have opportunities or they, lack material, or what should they do? They don't have that much support from the organizations. But now, due to the online mode of teaching, you have so many opportunities. You have so many ways to, make your classes interesting and exciting. We will also see how we can adapt the material. And I have seen that people are facing, especially the teachers, they are grappling with how they can deal with technology. So I would share my experience, how to shift your classes from physical to the virtual mode. The walkaways would be that hopefully by the end of the webinar, all of us will have a lot of information and zeal to adopt and adapt technology so we can maximize our learning. The importance of technology in classroom. Now you see, since our classes are virtual and we are not at all, the schools, colleges, universities have been shut down, and everybody, we have shifted to the virtual mode. So what we have to do is that it is the end of 2020. We are living in the age of technology, and due to the pandemic, technology has become unavoidable and indispensable for all of us. Now we do not have any other way. So then we will talk about the digital natives and the digital immigrants. What is this concept, who we are and who these two individuals are. Then Due to the pandemic, all the teachers suddenly had to plunge into the brave new world of remote teaching. Especially if I talk from the Pakistani point of view, the teachers were very comfortable in physical mode of teaching. But now we have to learn the ways to swim in these waters. For many of us, when we'll come to the point of digital natives and digital immigrants, for digital natives, it is very easy to, teach virtually. But for digital immigrants, it is very tough. Now, what does this picture say or mean to you? It's a very beautiful picture, and you can see that the child is very, very young. A little girl.
Yes.
She is glued to the gadget. Now, these are actually digital natives. The term digital native, this was coined by Mark Prensky back in 2001. It's been 19 years now, but you see, it is still very pertinent. It's still very much there. He is a speaker, consultant, and writer. Prensky stated that these young learners are raised in a digital society, which means that they don't have to deal with technology learning curves. It is very much there. It is part of their lives. You see, even a 1 year old or a 2 year old can very easily handle the mobile or the other gadgets. These individuals, they already know their way around a smartphone and a tablet. And informal learning comes naturally to them. In fact, a world without a mobile, other gadgets and devices seems virtually unfathomable to them. On the other hand, who are digital immigrants? Digital immigrants are the people who were born after the 1980s and they adopted the new technology. So they are named or termed as digital immigrants. Now, interestingly, that all of us, usually most of the teachers, they fall in this category. They are the digital immigrants, and they or us, we have to teach the digital natives. So, here comes the importance for technology. These digital immigrants, there are fundamental differences in these two kinds of people. They perceive, analyze, and function in entirely different and opposing ways. Now you see this opposition, this difference, it lies, obviously, it is very much there. We have been, talking about the generation gaps and so many other concepts and things. But what we have to do is today, I would try that we can bridge the gap. This gap and this difference makes it essential for us to find ways to bridge the gap. So you see, both of these individuals, we can coexist and maximize our learning and collaboration. You see, now it is not about, that only the teachers are the sage on the stage. No, that's not there anymore. When I teach in my classroom also, I become a learner. Because if you think that you are, a sage, that does not work, especially now in these times and in this era. What is the difference between these two individuals, the natives, digital natives, and the digital immigrants? Digital natives, they like constant connectivity. They prefer immediacy, shortcuts, quick fixes, and they have very short attention spans. And they have very, not only attention spans, but the preferences change very quickly. That we can see when we talk about the media. One celebrity, one individual becomes the rage for a few weeks or maybe few days or few months, and then these digital natives, they forget that individual or celebrity. These natives, they have their own jargon. like CU, TYL, BRB, DIY, FYI. So this is their jargon, and at times it is very difficult for digital immigrants to understand this. Going to the internet first for information, their first choice is always internet. They're very much into the social media and the other websites. They prefer to socialize online, and they are weak in face-to-face communication. This we can always see and experience. Whereas digital immigrants, they prefer to talk on the phone or in person. They believe in tangible things. They value proper English when texting or speaking. They prefer formal communication channels such as phone, detailed emails, or face to face communication. This face to face communication and this, you see, a comfort zone of digital immigrants, that is a bone of contention, and it is creating a lot of issues for the teachers because they cannot, you see, understand and accept this digital mode. Digital immigrants, they do not understand the slang words or phrases which are there used on the internet, such as IDK, BRB, T, T2YL, talk to you later. They print things out as opposed to working on screen. So you see, the tangibility is very much there. Now, since we understand the difference between these two, so what is the way forward? Now, we understand the difference. We have to now move forward. So, what is the way forward for us and how we can solve this issue and problem? Most of the teachers, they are digital immigrants. Before COVID-19, in few places, we could avoid or were using technology at a very minimum scale. But now, during and post COVID, this is the second wave now, and technology has become indispensable. So you have to, you see, if you are a teacher or if you have a business or if you belong to any field now, you have to go online, you have to become digital and virtual. So there is no way out for us now. With each passing day, our lives are becoming more and more digital and virtual. So, keeping all this in mind, let us plan for success to appeal to these digital natives. Now, you see, we will have to make our classes and our curriculum so interesting and appealing that our digital natives, they enjoy our classes and they can connect to us. You see, when we complain that our students, they are not attentive, they do not enjoy, they do not take part, so we need to think that where does the problem lies? Does it lie with the natives, digital natives, our students, or does it lie with us? So what's the action plan now? Since all the learning is virtual, digital and remote, so now we need to equip ourselves with the adequate tools and paraphernalia. Now, I always stress on myself and ourselves. You see, we can always blame the other party, but it's the best solution to any problem is that we focus on ourselves first. So, what we will do is that we will talk about the tools which are available there and how we can, you see, appeal to these natives. Teachers should have all the tools in their repertoire that attracts these digital natives. We need to understand that if a child does not pay attention to our lecture or class, that means the fault lies in the way we are delivering, the fault lies in our content or the medium. Banning gadgets from the class will not make any difference. You see, when the student will go to their gadgets when they are not enjoying the class or they are not interested in the subject maybe which you are teaching. So what are the ways how we can incorporate technology in the classrooms? There are multiple ways. Internet has made our lives very easy. You can search things, but the point which is very worthy of consideration is that you have to adapt the material, whatever is available. You have to adapt it according to the age level, the grade, and the interest of your students. So before I share all these ways how you can incorporate technology, you should first of all understand your students. What kind of students do you have? What are their preferences? What kinds of content and things do they like? So always talk to your students. You should, every teacher, no matter you are a class in charge, class teacher, or a subject teacher, you should know your students. So the ways you can incorporate technology in the classroom is gamified learning, digital field trips. You can integrate social media into your classes. You can gather student feedback. This is crucial for your teaching. Gathering feedback of your students, their parents, how do your students talk about your class or your subject to their parents. Then review and critique web pages. Incorporate video and multimedia into lessons and presentations. Online activities for students who finish work early. Now, technology in the classroom. There are very interesting things available. The first one which I would like is to share is digital field trips. Now, Google Street View, or there are many other websites also and many similar applications also that allow you to virtually explore parks, forests, and even national and international landmarks from the comfort of your classroom. So, especially if you are an English teacher, for us, we have many opportunities. If you want your students to write about something, maybe a picnic, so what we can do is that we can give them an experience of digital field trip, and they can write about it once they go on this field trip. After that, they can write about it. Creating digital content. Now, since we are online, so it is very easy for us to make slides and presentations, PowerPoint presentations. We need to provide options for our students to express themselves through blogs, videos, podcasts, ebooks, flyers, and any other digital art or any other means they feel most comfortable with. Now, if we give them this opportunity, it will become very easy for them to express their views and their point of view. And they would really enjoy their work. Gamification. This is a very interesting way we can incorporate technology in our classrooms. Gamification, this makes use of gaming mechanics such as badges, points, levels, or leaderboards. And it applies these mechanics to the way a learning course is taught. This in turn improves the learner's motivation. Moreover, the design of game offers the learners the freedom to fail and to face and accomplish various challenges and goals respectively. Now you see what will gamification do is that obviously all kinds of, all age levels, students and children, they really enjoy these games, and they are available for every kind of age group. So it is a very interesting, exciting, and appealing way of teaching students. We can use the model of games and incorporate our curriculum in that. Again, for English teachers, it is very easy for us to adapt the material. We can make games, or they're already available. I will share those with you also. So what will happen that it will excite your students, no matter they are young learners or they are adults. No matter you're teaching at any level, this will appeal to your students. One game is Medieval Swansea. This is a highly interactive game. It is a historical game in which learners they take up the role of a detective to solve an old mystery. Now you see what will these games do is that they will have the freedom to fail. They will try many things and they will be able to try and error. And they would understand that yes, failing is also part of life. So it will not only teach them their curriculum, but it will also teach them the necessary life lessons. This game, Medieval Swansea, it can be played on all digital devices. So you don't need to worry about the gadgets or the medium. The characteristics of this game, they help the learner to follow their progress and to know what is left to be done. So they can, learn by themselves and on their own pace. More games which we can explore. When it comes to the National Learning Awards, this game was awarded gold medal twice. Okay, I need to take it back. Mm, okay, yes.
So you can.
Yes, it's here. So it was awarded gold medal twice. This game lets the trade trainees, for instance, plumbers, to utilize and practice their learned skills in an immersive and real life virtual reality simulation. So you see, they can actually practice these skills. It offers the players with tools, fittings, and fixtures that assist the players in visualizing the real life setting. Another game is Lifesaver. This game helps the learners in understanding and applying the basic steps to save someone's life. So you see, they are not only learning the skills, they can actually apply this in their real life. People suffering from choking or cardiac arrest, the players are challenged on the basis of scenario-based approach, crisis simulation, choice of story and characters, and time limitations that help in understanding that time is essential in such circumstances. So you see, the child will not only learn things, but he has the choice to choose. Variety is very important in classes. Always give students options. Whenever I make tasks, writing tasks for students, I always give them ample of choice. So you see, all the students feel that we are involved in the learning process. The learners, they can unlock levels as they progress and acquire the required skills and knowledge. So all these games, they give the opportunity to students to self-pace their learning. And they will continuously keep on checking their progress. So this helps them in checking their progress also. So now what we should be able to do is that we should recognize we have recognized the importance and scope and impact of technology on our lives. Now we have to design and choose the activities and interactive material for our class. We have to adapt the available resources according to our students' age and level. Then we need to utilize the shared material to make digital mode of learning and teaching fruitful for us and our learners. I will share the references also with you. Top Hat, it is a really interesting website. There are many articles there. Then synchronous and asynchronous teaching methods, transition to online teaching. There is a lot of material available. So what we can do is that we have to search and invest time in our learning and teaching. I need to talk about other ways of technology also. Gathering students' feedback. This is something you should essentially do in your each class. You can do it via live also after your class. After the topic you have finished, you should take 5 to 10 minutes for the feedback of the class. Otherwise, you can make Google Forms and you can send them to the students. They would just take 2 to 3 minutes to finish, and it will give you valuable insight on your teaching. Then, if they are older students, what we can do is that we can ask them to review and critique web pages. They would really like to explore new websites, new material other than the textbooks. Now, having said all this, we cannot shun books or shun the importance of hard books or hardbound notebooks altogether. We need to teach our students that yes, technology is very much there. We are, living in the life in the era of technology, but we need to read books. They can do it online also, but they should read hardbound and printed books also. Then we can ask our students to make presentations, multimedia presentations, or they can, make verbal presentations for the class. This would not only boost their confidence, but this will give them a lot of knowledge when they will search on their own. So they will learn a lot. Then one thing which is really important is online activities for students who finish the work early. Now this happens in our classes that many a times when we are teaching our students, they finish their work early. So what happens then is that they do not have anything to do, and then they start mischievous activities and they disturb the class. So never leave any student free in the classroom. It can happen in the physical classroom also and in the virtual also. When they finish the work, you always give them some extra work or activities. They can be any games also which they can play after their work related to the topic they have just studied. Okay, so hopefully you have learned things, and if you have any questions, Amanullah.
Thank you very much, Sabah, for your presentation. And it was, based on well-researched, wonderful ideas, especially the idea of teacher as a guide, rather than sage on the stage. So, yeah,
Exactly.
great ideas. Yeah. So now the floor is open for questions. If participants have any questions, they can type them in the chat, and I'll be monitoring this chat box. Also, I like the idea of self-paced learning. In this era, some of the students are fast and rapid enough to get the things, and some are slow learners. So self-paced learning provides them this opportunity to grow with their pace, and work with their capabilities and at ease.
Definitely, we should always allow our students, first of all, self-paced learning. Secondly, we should give them time, space, and they should be able to pace their learning themselves also. And they should be able to measure their progress. That is really essential for the learners. One thing which I really want to share is that the mediums, I think so, we have messages in the chat box. We'll come to that also. The mediums of teaching. Now Zoom is always obviously there. You can definitely take your classes on that. Microsoft Teams is there. I have personally been taking my classes on Google Meet. That is a very comfortable medium. What you can do is that you can easily record your classes on that. For recording the classes on Google Meet, you need to have a G Suite email address. so that your organization can easily make for you. It is really comfortable. You can have a 3 hour, 4 hour class also on that. There's no limitation of time. So Google Meet, do try that. It is very convenient and very easy to use. So many people have been, using Zoom. You can buy the professional Zoom also, and otherwise Google Meet is always there. So there are many other mediums, you can easily explore them. What we need to do is that exploration is really important. So we have to teach ourselves first of all and train ourselves. Okay.
So we have this question: what is the best solution to the student who don't have interest in study? So how do you motivate them?
Okay, very good question. The thing is that, first of all, if the students are not interested in studies, so what you need to do is that first we need to tell them the importance of study. Why are they studying? Students do not enjoy learning because there are many reasons for that. First of all, they don't know why they are studying. We just, tell our students that yes, they have to go to school, college, university, but what is the importance of it? Then secondly, we need to teach them that how they can apply this knowledge, in their real life. So you see, mm, your maths is everywhere. English language, if you need to communicate, you will need this language. And other languages, now we understand that the world is a global village. Even that concept is not there. We totally understand this and we are living in that. There are no borders anymore. So we need to learn many other languages also. So we need to tell our students what is the importance of language and their education, which they are getting through via their schools, universities. So if they understand that why they are learning, they will become interested. Then again, the mediums, the ways you are teaching. When you are in the classroom, the teacher is the in charge. So we have the same curriculum, but you need to adapt that and make it so appealing and interesting for the students that they enjoy it. Once the learner, they start enjoying their classes, they will definitely take interest and they will look forward to your classes. So I think so the more responsibility lies with the teacher than the student.
That's great. And how to get my students to think locally and act globally?
Excellent question. Now, how you can make your students um, think locally and act globally, or the opposite? Okay,
Yep.
yes, think locally and act globally. Now, for this, you will have to give your students exposure first of all. Exposure is the key to everything. You see, once they know about things, I recently shared many resources in a talk. You should first give them exposure. Now, I always tell my students, never rely on one source or any one subject. For example, my subject is English, but I should explore many other subjects and topics also. For example, gardening, cooking, travel shows, learning about cultures, civilizations, animals. So you see, the more exposure you have, the more things they will understand, and definitely they will then act globally. Then you need to teach them the values, tolerance. Then only they will understand that they are global citizens and they need to value others, and the world altogether. Hopefully, I've answered your questions.
Great. So from your talk, I also, enjoyed, and this idea clicked me of celebrating the mistakes and failures. So oftentimes we are focused on being right all the time, but then with this our students are free to fail, and there's no shame in it. So try and error method. So this was a great idea too.
Definitely, we should always celebrate our mistakes. If you are not making mistakes, you are not learning at all. And then, secondly, we should give our children and our students liberty. You see, we at times become very protective. We need to give them the space. If a child is walking, he will fall down. Don't worry, he will. If he hurts himself, no problem. But they will learn with time. So we need to hold ourselves back and give them the space and liberty to learn and explore things. Obviously, you should and you would keep a watchful eye, but give them the space to learn and make mistakes. You should tell them what is the right way, but then give them the liberty to explore things and make mistakes. They will learn things automatically.
Thanks very much, Ms. Sabah. It was a great session with you. Thanks for your presence. We really appreciate that. This recording of the session will be made available on Teacher Development Webinars YouTube channel later this evening. So you can, watch it and feel free to share. And for future webinars, you can always follow us on social media channels. If you have any queries, you can write teacherdevelopment.webinars@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook page, Facebook group. We are available on Twitter as well. Our Twitter handle is TD Webinars. So yeah, at this point, I always remind you that COVID-19 cases have been on a rise, especially in Pakistan. We are seeing this second wave. So please be careful about your lives, your family's lives. Keep wearing masks, practice physical distancing, and don't forget social solidarity. I'll take a leave and take care. Be safe. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you